Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are Beulah Land at Temple Kepharim, ready to rock and roll. All right, where we at with our lessons for today? This portion of our class will be the commandments. You have a commandment, you would recite your commandment. You can't say any of the 10 commandments. Recite your commandments, present them before the family, and we'll be able to, and you don't just give the commandment, you give the commandment, then you give your understanding of that particular commandment, and then we proceed from there. All right? Butter King, welcome to our second half. May the Most High be praised. Torah Rabbah. All right, so anyone have any commandments they would like to speak on? Look at all the Bibles coming out. Everybody pulling out their Bibles because ain't nobody ready. Y'all supposed to have your commandments in your heart. They're supposed to be in your mind. You're supposed to walk around with your commandments at all times. You're supposed to be able to pull a commandment off the back of your head. Look at Chief. Chief ready. Chief got his commandment. Shabbat Shalom, Ada. Shabbat Shalom, Ada. Welcome, Ada. You're on time. You got your commandment, Ada? You got your commandment? Oh, yeah, I remember. It ain't taking much to remember that. Ada, you're a cold crusher. I'm going to have to call you on that and see how serious you're about that, Mr. Ada. All right, y'all, come on now. It's that time. Let's get those commandments up, family. All this time, nobody popped up with their commandments yet. You got your commandment? All right, I'm going on mute so you can bring your commandment, please.
Shabbat Shalom, Lakalam. My commandment can be found in Leviticus, Vayikra, chapter 22, verse 10 and 11. And it reads, "There shall no common man eat of the holy thing. A tenant of a priest or a hired servant shall not eat of the holy thing." And 11 reads, "But if..."
Read it again, please.
Verse 10, "There shall no common man eat of the holy thing. A tenant of a priest or a hired servant shall not eat of the holy thing." Verse 11, "But if a priest buy any soul, the purchase of his money, he may eat of it, and such as are born in his house, they may eat of his bread." So what I gather from the first part is that it's saying a common person, like I would consider myself a common person. I'm not a priest, not married to a priest. So I wouldn't be able to eat of the holy things. And it says a tenant or even a hired servant. So a hired servant means someone who works for you and you pay them. And a tenant could be someone who lives on your land, but they don't live in your house. And so those people cannot eat of the holy thing. But then it goes on. It says, okay, "There shall no common man eat of the holy thing. A tenant of a priest or a hired servant shall not eat of a holy thing." Right. A tenant, from what I'm understanding, is a person who, just in the same way as a servant, I guess, works for the priest. And so they can't eat of the holy thing. But it says, "But if a priest buy any soul, the purchase of his money, he may eat of it. Such are born in his house, they may eat of his bread." So that means born in his house. Well, he said if he purchases a soul, that means if he purchased someone that actually, like a servant in a way, because you can have a hired servant and then you could purchase a servant. I'm getting the difference. So he could purchase a servant, and that servant that he purchased can eat of it. and anyone born of his house. So that means his children who are born of his house, and the hired, I mean, not the hired, but the purchased servants' children would be able to eat of it because they all belong to him at this point. They're his possession.
All right, relinquish the mic, please.
Mhm.
Very good. Very good. Now, the difference is this.
Mhm.
When you hire somebody and they work for you, they're getting their wages, they're free to go. They still their own person.
Mhm.
But anything that you pay for, anything that you own, a pair of shoes, a coat, a hat, anything that you buy, it belongs to you. Therefore, when a thing belongs to you, your spirit is upon that thing. So if the high priest owns a person's life, a person's entity, their body, if the high priest has owned them because they paid money for them, that brings them under their possession. That means that portion of his spirit is upon that item and that thing is owned by them. So this is where you got to remember things about stealing. If you steal something from somebody, that person's spirit is on that item. And you're trying to cause your spirit to possess something that somebody else's spirit owns, and you're doing it by the unnatural way. That's why the Creator says, thou shalt not steal. That's why you can't commit adultery. Because what you're doing is when a man takes possession of a woman, he owns that woman. He owns her. Whether people want to admit it or not in today's society, it's a fact. That's why she takes your last name as a sign of possession. So the man owns the woman. And when another man try to put his spirit upon that woman by dominating her and taking over her, it's illegal because she already has a spirit that controls her or that dominates her, that's over her. It's a spiritual battle in the spiritual realm. And therefore, those people are committing what we call adultery, which is a sin worthy of death. If a man, this was my commandment for the day, so I'll just say it anyway. If a man finds a virgin and forces himself upon her, and he be found, he should be put to death. Why? Because he erred her. He took her. She had the spirit of her father upon her. As her father, his spirit was upon her. That man came in and took her and forced her father's spirit, his spirit upon her father's spirit by laying with her and taking possession of her. These things are abominations before the Creator. It shouldn't be. So that was a very good commandment. That commandment shows in detail a portion of how the spirit realm works. May the Most High be praised. This is why the Creator doesn't want us practicing idolatry, because his spirit is supposed to be upon us. The Father's spirit is supposed to be upon us. Therefore, when we go out and commit idolatry, we're allowing another entity, another spirit to come on us. And that's an abomination. And we're not supposed to do that. That is considered to be wickedness. And the Most High is not pleased with that. It's not pleased with that at all. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. So that just sits on the page like that? It doesn't scroll across the bottom?
Not this one.
Okay.
I didn't have it. I can do that if you like.
Yeah, because that's an interruption. All right. May the Most High be praised. I guess Ada's going to come on and do his commandment in person, I guess. All right. Are there any other commandments, family? Anyone else want to produce a commandment? Is anybody else studying? Brahm, Shabbat Shalom. Brahm, I was going to ask about you. Haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. Brahma, you coming on to do your commandment? Shabbat shalom.
What I said about the rocking, y'all. Let us not.
Come on, y'all. Let's rock and roll. We got too much going on now.
Y'all better have to sit in these other chairs in a minute.
Is anyone going to produce a commandment? All right. Well, if we ain't got no more commandments, we might as well get started with class.
Those rocking chairs are meant for elders, actually, not for children. So if y'all not.
All right. We ain't got no more commandments. We might as well get started with class. Class is going to be very interesting today. Sister Ornette, are you present in class today, Sister Ornette? Sister Ornette, are you present? Oh, you say he's coming in. All right. Good. Wonderful. Chief Mola. Okay, come on. Ada, we waiting for you. We waiting for you. But y'all agree, everybody moving so slow. You know, Prince ain't got no patience right now. Oh, go ahead, Zaraya. You want to come up here? All right. Baby girl got a commandment. Come on.
That way.
It don't matter. Come on, baby. Just come and get it. Give it up. All right. Go ahead.
My command is honor your father and your mother.
Honor your father and your mother. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. He says, why would they allow you to get in? Let me see if I can do it again. I'll grab another one. Okay, let me do another one. All right, check the last one I just said. Oh, that's YouTube. I sent you the YouTube one. Please forgive me. I sent out the YouTube one, so I got to go back to the people, the family.
That's your brain, huh?
Yeah, I got it, babe. That's that. My mind is not all the way there, y'all. My mind is not all the way there. I'm apologizing. Go ahead on, bro. Is that one working for you? StreamYard working for you, bro? Honor your father and your mother. And what that commandment mean? Did you tell us what it means? Come on up. Come talk to me. Yeah, he got it. You got to put a Mr. on that. You got to put a Mr. on that. Mr. Otter. Mr. Otter. What that commandment mean?
That you should honor your father and your mother because so that your days may live long.
There you go. Give him pound. All right. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. Go ahead, bro. You got it, Mr. Otter. The Destroyer. Mr. Otter, the Destroyer.
I like that name. I like that name.
Yeah.
Shemo. So my commandment is on Leviticus 20. Trying to get this. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 5. It says, they shall not make any bald place on their heads, nor shall they shave the edges of their beards, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. They shall be holy to their God and not profane the name of their God. For they offer the offerings of the Lord by fire and bread, and therefore they shall be holy. So basically, the law, the commandment, where God said we're not supposed to make shoes on our face and on our heads. You know, it's a lot of men in Israel with bald heads and shaved faces. A lot of leaders, to be exact, with bald heads and shaved faces. So basically, that's my commandment. Shaving of the head and the shaving of the beard. That.
May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. I remember years ago, we going back about 20 years ago, maybe a little longer, maybe 20, 25 years ago. I met a man named Morey Elisha. You know Morey Elisha?
Okay.
Yeah, I met a man named Morey Elisha. And
Absolutely.
he had a Unity Shabbat in Atlanta. And we were sitting out by the water. After the Shabbat, we went to the water and had a Shabbat service. I mean, just a recreation portion. And he was asking me about commandments. So I said to him, you know, we was having a discussion about the Torah. So I said to him, Morey, you're not supposed to have your face clean shaven. Morey Elisha was a barber. And he was an elder to me. He must have been about 60 years old back then. I said, you're not supposed to have your face clean shaven. You're supposed to have a beard if you're an Israelite man. Next time I saw Morey, he had a beard.
That's a fact.
A lot of elders and leaders in Israel think they got it and ain't no young bucks going to tell them nothing.
Right.
Morey Elisha wasn't that. Morey Elisha was a man, if you show him something and he see it, he adjusts his behavior. Yeah, he's no longer with us now. May the Most High bless his memory, but he was a great man. He was a great man. You know, we had our differences, but you would never know because they were so minute. So minute. He was a great man.
Absolutely.
I respect him to this day. You know, he taught me a lot, man. He shared a lot of information with everybody he met. Don't let him get into the New Testament. He'll get into that New Testament, that Quran, and he all over the books. Wipe him up and down the street. So he was the man.
Brother.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely.
But you're right. They're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to have a bald head. They're not supposed to have shaven faces. But they
People
do.
feel Morey, that once when you shave your head, you fall under the banner of Julius Caesar.
Mm.
And people fail to realize that, man.
You fall under that banner trying to represent the Almighty.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this to you. That's not the only thing that puts you under the banner of Julius Caesar.
Oh.
There you go. There you go, Grace. Yeah. Julius Caesar is also the one responsible for opening up that new book, that New Testament they got. Yeah. That's Greek stuff. Caesar. Right. And if you notice, 90% of Israel is walking that way today.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's sad, but
I often wonder if that's the measuring rod that the Creator going to use to pull out a remnant from a remnant.
Yeah, that's how it's looking. That's how it's looking, Prince.
Everywhere you go, everything you do, you can't be a part of Israel, any community, congregation, or any event unless they're into that book. And I've noticed.
Yeah.
So the best thing you do is a man of righteousness. The best thing you can do is go and just relax and just maintain your respect to the Almighty, hoping that you'll have the opportunity to share with somebody and bring them up out of that nonsense. Because I ain't gonna say nonsense. It can't be nonsense because it's really deeply penetrating the minds of our people. So it can't be nonsense.
Right.
There's gotta be something there, man, some science that we don't see, because our people will actually kill you for it.
Yeah.
Kill you. Hey, bro, thank you for your commandment. May the Most High be praised.
I appreciate you having me, Prince.
Oh, man, you always welcome, man. You got the button. Just hit it. Come on in.
Absolutely.
You ain't got to leave. You can stay if you want. You can leave. It's up to you. Brother Asa, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. My commandment is Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15. It says, Yahuwah your Elohim shall raise up for you a prophet like me from your midst, from your brothers. Listen to him. So we have a responsibility to listen to the true prophet. Today there are so many false prophets around, calling themselves anointed and not relating to Israel at all. And they spew words that may have a 1% truth in it, but it's all misleading us to other gods. So therefore, we're to ensure that we be able to identify what true prophet really is. And even in the same chapter in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15 says, verse 18, I shall raise up for them a prophet like you out of the midst of their brothers. Out of the midst of their brothers. So it's a prophet that comes from the commonwealth of Israel. And I shall put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. So it's for us, we have to match what a person says with what the Torah says. And where there's some mismatch, then we can easily identify that person is not a prophet. Right, so there are some things that identify the prophet. It says that the person should speak Yahuwah's words, and he shall do them. Right, and we know a prophet is to be anointed, and we're not seeing many persons who are anointed, to bring the word. So let us be vigilant that we're not misled by false prophets, because there are many out there, and they will bring us only into idolatry. That's
Absolutely. May the Most High be praised. Absolutely. Do you know of any false prophets, Asa?
Well, I could say myself was one. So I started looking
Explain that.
inward before I look at anybody else.
How do you consider yourself being a false prophet in what you did? How was that? What happened?
Well, I was a part of an assembly that, they preached another God. And they preached that, man can actually atone for my sins, give me a false sense of salvation and comfort, not realizing that I was going along a road of destruction, not realizing that I have a responsibility to follow Yahuwah's commands, and in his word, in his commands, that is the way he's the only one that can save me. Right? So, and I was actually sharing this kind of message all around on YouTube and so on, not realizing that I'm misleading persons.
So is that what you consider making you a prophet, because you shared information misleading people?
Oh no, just sharing incorrect information and attributing it to the God of Israel. That to me was falsity.
Okay. What chapter and verse did you just read out of your scriptures?
Oh, it was Deuteronomy chapter 18, 15 and 18, those two verses.
Correct. Now, did you read that part? Could you go there and read it again for me, please?
Okay, verse 15 says,
15 and 18, verse 18.
Yahuwah your Elohim shall raise you up for you a prophet like me from your midst, from your brothers, listen to him. According to all you have asked of your Elohim in Oreb, in all the day of your assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of my Elohim, nor let me see this great fire and any more lest I die. And verse 18 says, I shall raise up for them a prophet like you.
Now hold up a second. Pay attention to this right here. Watch how he says. It's real. The Creator is real particular about his prophets, or any prophet. Read and watch what happens.
I shall raise up for them a prophet like you out of the midst of their brothers. And I shall put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him.
Now, that prophet had to speak what the Creator commanded. Read on.
Okay, and it shall be the man who does not listen to my words, which he speaks in my name, I require it of him. Mm-hmm. But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of other mighty ones, even that prophet shall die.
There you go. So therefore, when a prophet comes, a prophet must come in the name of the Most High. The prophet must say, this is what the Most High said for me to say. If a man comes along and he's teaching and doesn't say, this is what the Creator said, that man's not prophesying. So you're not guilty of that if that's not what you've done. So you can ask the Creator to forgive your soul. I understand you had a good heart and you was leading and teaching people. That's a good thing. But if you didn't say this is what the Creator said, then you wouldn't have been considered a prophet. So you have not violated that issue. You follow me so far?
Follow.
Yeah, there are people who come and say it like Paul comes, and Paul dances all around that situation. He says the Most High said this, the Most High said this. And what he's been saying was a lie. It's not true. The Most High never said anything. He doesn't say, thus saith the Most High. Somebody sent me a prophecy, a parable the other day, and it says something about, and the Lord said, and the Lord said, but the Lord didn't say anything in the New Testament at all. So the whole book is not a book of prophecy. We have to remember that. So if you don't speak in the name of the Most High, then you're not a prophet. If you look in all the books of the prophets, it always says, thus saith the Lord, or the Lord said unto me to say unto you, thus saith the Lord, hear, O Israel, and it'll go on. But if it doesn't say, thus saith the Lord, if they don't come in the Most High's name, then they're saying that they're not a prophet, or at least a prophet of the Most High. Turn with me to the book of Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter real quick, please. Deuteronomy 13:1. Could you read that for me, Asa?
When there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he shall give you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder shall come true, of
So-
which he has spoken to you, saying, let us go after other mighty ones, which you have not known, and serve them.
So the Creator is telling us that there will come prophets who will dream dreams and interpret them, or prophesy, and the prophecy will come to pass. And then we watch and we saying, well, this got to be of the Creator. But then this prophet, the one who did that, turns you into the direction of serving someone else. Now, here's the rest of the part of that warning. Once they turn you to serving somebody else, what the Most High say we're supposed to do? Read on, please.
Walk after Yahuwah your Elohim and fear him, and guard his commands and obey his voice, and serve him and cling to him.
Read on, please.
And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams is put to death, because he has spoken apostasy against Yahuwah your Elohim. He brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim and ransomed you from the house of bondage, to make you stray from the way.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
To make you stray from the way in which Yahuwah your Elohim commanded you to walk. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst.
There you go. You're supposed to put those prophets to sleep. You're supposed to put them to sleep. They're false prophets. They had the ability to prophesy. When they prophesied, they didn't use it and give credit and glory and honor to the Most High. They gave it to someone else. There's a front door and there's a back door. Both of those doors lead to the Creator. If you come through the back door, you're practicing witchcraft, black magic, voodoo, sorcery, in that order. When you come through the front door, you're a child of the Most High. We got access to the front door. Why do we want to go to the back door? There's no need for us to go to the back door. The Most High give us access to the front door. But we have to take advantage of that. People who worship all these other things, they go through the back door to gain access to the Creator. That's why when they go through that back door, they need protection to protect them from whatever energy might destroy them. We don't need that going through the front door, living by the laws and the commandments that the Most High decreed for us to live by. A lot of us don't understand, but by living by those laws, He establishing you in a spiritual way to be spiritually protected when you go before Him, when you go out into the spiritual realm. And so many don't understand that. So that prophet who came and spoke, and he spoke wickedness, or he spoke and tried to get you to go serve somebody else, that whole book teaches you about serving someone else. I seen a post the other day where somebody actually got up and gave glory and honor to the Most High and thanked the Most High for something and his son. And they mentioned the guy by name. And why would you do that? I can't understand. And I have no problem with my people, my family, my brothers and sisters. I love them dearly. I have no problem with them when they accept who they want to accept as a Moshiach. I don't argue with people over that. But if you accept them as a Moshiach, leave it there. They take it to another level and put them on a level equal with the Most High. I think that's what it was. Somebody was thanking the Creator for their birthday. They thanked the Most High. I put it on my page. They thank the Most High for their birthday, the day of their birth, but then they thank the other guy for their birthday, and I couldn't understand that. You know, if he's just a prophet, let him be a prophet. You know, but they take it further than that. They make it something other than what it possibly could be that would keep them out of the realm of idolatry, and that's wickedness. But you cool, bro. And not only that, you came out of that situation. You asked the Most High for forgiveness for what you understood to be wrong. And now here you are still seeking the face of the Creator. And that's what it's all about. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah.
Hallelujah.
Did you want to say anything else, bro?
Well, that reference that you added, Deuteronomy chapter 13, it's very detailed, you know, that the Most High actually anticipated this kind of temptation coming our way and tells us, you know, it will come from brother and mother and persons close to us, right? And it shows, it reminds us that, you know, those persons will actually entice us to actually pursue other gods.
There you go.
And so we are to be mindful and vigilant about that.
That's right. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. Is he giving a commandment?
Yes.
Go ahead, Dawid.
Okay. You gotta read what book it's in, chapter and verse.
Okay. My law is in Leviticus chapter 11, verse 13 through 19. And these ye shall have in destination upon the flowers. They shall not be eaten. They are a detestable thing.
Detestable.
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 Oh, detestable thing.
Mm-hmm.
The great vulture and the bearded vulture and the osprey and the kite and the falcon after its kinds, and every raven after its kinds, and the ostrich and the nighthawk and the seamew and the hawk after its kinds, and the little owl and the cormorant and the great owl and the horned owl and the pelican and the caracal vulture, and the stork, and the heron after its kind, and the hoopoo, and the bat.
Okay. So what is it saying?
It basically means that you shouldn't eat birds of prey because they eat unclean stuff, and if you eat them, then you'll be eating the unclean stuff that they eat.
Well, let me ask you a question, young man. Is the chicken a bird of prey?
No.
You don't think so? So you remember that video I showed you when the chicken preyed on that mouse and ate the mouse?
No.
You never seen that video?
No.
Okay.
He'd have to see a chicken
I thought I showed it to him, but if I didn't, I
in
didn't.
person. He's probably
All right. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah.
It's not chicken, but it's meat.
All right.
I'm saying a chicken in the midst of doing this.
Yeah, I thought I showed him the commandment, that video. I'll show you later. Now, he said birds of prey you shouldn't eat. Now, the scripture that he just read did not say birds of prey, but it did say certain type of birds that you shouldn't eat. And then it goes on and says after their kind. So anything that means that means that anything that comes from those birds, anything that's a descendant from those birds are unclean. And we did the research and we found out that the chicken comes from the vulture. And a lot of Israelites
sell because that's what everybody thinks.
your mic keep coming open.
That's me.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Otter. So we found out that the vulture was a relative of the chicken. The chicken came from the vulture. Chickens came from vultures, but people don't want to accept it. So I did a whole lesson on that. If you want, you can go to my YouTube page and look up Israelites, are Hebrews supposed to eat chicken? Or are Hebrews allowed to eat chicken? And that lesson was like 4 hours long. But somewhere in that lesson, we gave the whole breakdown about what the chicken actually does and where the chicken is from. And on that video, we also played the video where it showed the chicken being a bird of prey. He saw a mouse running around the ground. A cat was playing with the mouse, and the chicken came up beside the cat, ran over to the mouse, killed the mouse, picked the mouse up in his mouth, killed it, and ate the mouse. And we saw that on the video. So chickens are a bird of prey. All right, Ima, you want to do the commandments on the side?
You gotta mute. And Ketar's commandment can be found in the book of Leviticus, Vayikra, chapter 19, verse 35. And I'm gonna read it. And it reads, "Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, and meet yard, in weight, or in measure." And her explanation is, all business transactions should be done ethically and honestly.
You got, may the Most High be praised.
I see it. Zakwani Fakari's law can be found in Exodus 14 and 34. And it reads,
Exodus 14 and 14.
huh? Oh, sorry. Exodus 14 and 14. And it reads, "The Most High will fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace." And her explanation is, the Creator will fight for you. You only have to keep still. We should trust in the Creator and step aside to let Him fight for you.
May the Most High be praised. And that's a lot of our issues today. Issue is allowing the Most High to fight our battles for us. And it's not that we don't trust in the Most High. A lot of times it is that the Most High moves at His own time, at His own pace. And we want things to happen right away. And the Most High moves slow sometimes, not all the time. He moves slow according to how bad and how fast you want something to happen. But the Most High knows best. So He does things when He knows it's best to do things. And He doesn't move off of His emotions like a lot of us. He moves off of reason and understanding so that the plan that He has in place will fall in place and be executed with precision and accuracy. That's why He does what He does. So all those people who did something wicked and evil to you, just be patient. The Most High gonna get them. He gonna get them because you are devoted to the Most High. You are set apart to the Most High. They're just pretending to be what you really are. They see that in you, that you're really that way, and they're jealous and envious of you. Therefore, they try to bring you down. They try to attack you. They try to destroy your character. They try to do all those things. But the Most High sees. The Most High knows. The Most High understands. He will have His way with them. I promise you. It's just a matter of time. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. Benazante, you got a commandment for us?
Yes, sir. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Can I be heard?
Yes, you could be heard.
Okay. My law is going to be coming from Leviticus or Vayikra, 19, verses 33 and 34, possibly. It says, "And if a stranger sojourn with thee in your land, ye shall not vex him, but the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you, and thou shalt love him as thyself. For ye were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim. I am the Most High, your Elohim. And what this scripture means to me is that when we have a stranger come to sojourn or to live among us, we are not to cause them, we're not to provoke them in different ways or cause them to be in any type of distress or just be a nuisance to them. I know it's a natural. I know it's a natural thing for us, as people or human nature. Sometimes when people come amongst us that are not who we are, that we can sometimes just treat them a certain way or treat them in the ways we should not be treating them. So, the Creator is reminding us that we was also a stranger in the land of Mitzrayim. So once we are free and we have a land or a dwelling place of our own, and people come and they have to come and be amongst us, that we are to treat them with the utmost, with the utmost respect in a sense, which is it's ironic too, because even when we were in Mitzrayim, we were not treated that way. You know what I mean? We were treated terribly, you know what I'm saying, in Mitzrayim. We were forced to be slaves, forced to build someone else's kingdom, you know what I mean? And so, but he's reminding us that, hey, when you have your opportunity to be in that position, you're not going to treat the stranger, you're not to treat them that same exact, you're not to treat them that way, So and it also reminds me of the scripture that says that, when the righteous are in rulership, the people rejoice, and when the wicked are in rulership, the people mourn. So he's just teaching us as the righteous that when it's our time, the people will rejoice, but we have to treat even the strangers a certain way to uphold that standard. Zehu. And Shabbat Shalom.
May the Most High be praised. Give me a second, please. You said something in your statement that I wanted to ask about, and I just lost it. I probably lost it because I was thinking about some food. I can't remember it.
Was it I said talking about the stranger sojourn with us, treat them, we got to treat them a certain way. Is it ringing anything?
Yeah, well, I could talk about that a little bit because I thought about that too. It's hard to treat strangers. The best thing you can do is be respectful to them, but it's hard to really be good to them to the fullest when they're not observing the law.
Okay.
Because their natural way of doing things will violate the law, and they're living on your land and your community, a holy place it's supposed to be. And if it's a set apart place, they're bringing idolatry, all type of wickedness. Like one day I seen this lady, my wife had this lady stay at our house from Cincinnati, Chicago. She's from Chicago. She was a family member. And on Sunday, this lady joins this Christian organization. Some lady, so they do church services. So now she in my house and she playing church music. And y'all know I got a problem with that. It was so hard for me not to crack my mouth and say, yo, get out. It was so hard for me.
All right.
But I try to be polite and respectful, because she's a guest and you don't want to just be so mean and cruel to them. Sometimes decisions like that, they come into your place and they violate how your order and your structure is within your home, whether they know it or not. And you have to find some type of way to respectfully let them know that this can't be done, or you'll be in violation of the commandment by being cruel to them. And I wouldn't necessarily say in this cruel. What I'm saying is it's kind of difficult sometimes when strangers come into your land or your home and they're not abiding by the rules that you set in your home. I had one guy who was living with me for a period of time, young guy, and he was a little younger than me. I was 39 3/4. He might have been 30 3/4. But I told this guy, he's living in my house, him and his whole family. And I said, No smoking that stuff up in here, man. If you want to smoke that stuff, you got to go outside and smoke that stuff. And he kept sneaking, smoking that stuff, and then spraying air freshener like I couldn't smell it. I said, come on, bro, you got to go. Eventually, we had to part ways. But I try to be respectful about it, you know? I try to be respectful. And he wasn't even a stranger. He was an Israelite. That woman, she was a stranger to me and to this way of life. That's what the Father's speaking about. So, you know, it's kind of hard sometimes when you let strangers in and they violate the protocol, the rules, the regulations, the spirit that you have when you're running your home or running your community. And how you deal with them is of the utmost. You try to be respectful as best you can. But after that, sometimes you just got to get raw with people and just let them know, you know, but still be respectful about it. May the Most High be praised. And that was a very good commandment. And I wanted to say that I appreciate how everybody is going deep to get commandments that's not always said every day. That part is appreciated. It's greatly appreciated. Y'all bringing up commandments that's not said every day. These are different commandments that we don't hear every week, and it's a blessing. Okay, may the Most High be praised. Or anyone else have a commandment?
She wants to do another one.
Who? You want to do another commandment? Okay. Whew. Dawi, open that door, please. Go ahead, baby girl.
My commandment is you shall not covet.
And what does that mean, to not covet?
That means to not take from other people.
Covet could lead to that. Covet means to desire wickedly in your heart something that belongs to someone else. You know, it goes to a place where you start plotting out how you can get this thing from that person. Not one like what they have, but that exact one. All right? Very good. Give him pound. May the Most High be praised. To the Rabbah. Sis, did you want to give us a commandment?
Yes.
You want me to wait for you?
No, I have one. Joshua 1.
I don't know if they can hear you.
Oh, okay, I'm coming.
She's going to give us a commandment out of the book of Joshua, everybody.
But this is, I've always wanted to do this one. So I'm just
She always wanted to do this one.
one.
I can't wait till she say this commandment. She got a commandment in the book of Joshua. All right, let's see what that commandment is.
I'm here. Okay. So I think everybody can hear me, okay?
You probably had to come up here.
We got Toasty in here. Okay, my commandment is Joshua 1:9, which I know. Right. Which says, "Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid nor be discouraged, for Yahweh your Allah is with you wherever you go." And I chose this one because he literally says, "Have I not commanded thee?" So it is technically a command that we are not to be afraid nor discouraged, because we know that those spirits that operate in discouragement and fear, those are quote unquote low vibrational spirits. And we know that our Allah, our Elohim, operates in very high vibrations and high frequencies. So therefore, if we are afraid and discouraged, that means that his Ruach HaKodesh cannot dwell within us, which means that we will not be able to perform the things that we have been not only commanded to perform, because this was when they were clearing out the land. So they wouldn't have been able to have the strength to do that, but they also just wouldn't have the knowledge, the know-how, just the capacity to be able to actually do the things that he commanded them to do. So that was my definition.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Although that ain't one of the 613 commandments, as she classified, it is a commandment. I command thee,
He said it.
be courageous. And what else to say?
Be courageous and do not be discouraged.
And do not be discouraged.
Allah is with you wherever.
For the Most High, your power is with you wherever you should go. Yes. All right. Very good one. I like that one.
Yeah.
She found us a commandment in the book of Joshua. Well, all right, let me explain this to you. You hear Prince say, you won't hear that too often. I deliberately don't say,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a bad teacher, so I just did a bad job. Please forgive me, family, for saying, It's actually what we have to remember is the Creator says in the law that those people who speak in his name are considered to be prophets throughout the scriptures. Joshua, I have to say Joshua was a prophet of the Most High, because Joshua spoke, he represented the people, he represented the Most High before the people. So Joshua should have been, I don't see many prophecies in the book of Joshua, but we definitely know that Joshua stood in the stead of Moshe. So he was definitely considered to be a prophet of the Almighty. So we'll let that ride. Let that slide. We'll accept that in. All right. And it was a good commandment.
I've been wanting to do that one literally since the first time we came to visit and we were doing the
Then you get yourself in trouble the last time talking about what you wanted to do for a long time.
I'm like, just do it.
Yeah. Go ahead on and do it. You got it. May the Most High be praised. Very good, sis. And that's an advice that we all can take. You got to remember that the Most High fights your battles for you. Are there any other commandments? Anyone else have a commandment they want to say? They want to present to the Almighty? Sister Anita, are you present in the room yet? Sister Anita, are you present yet? My Isha must still be asleep. She ain't here. She must still be asleep. And Abba got the invite too. I sent it to Abba too. I don't know where Abba, you in the room, Abba? All right. So we ready to get started for class, family. We ready to start our lesson for the day. So here's a precursor, the warning. Y'all got to be patient with me because y'all know this little thing that I'm doing right now. I don't have a whole lot of strength, but I'm going to give it my all to make sure this thing goes right. All right. Do we have any volunteers to read today? Someone in the audience, any volunteers that would like to read today? If you do, here's the link. Come on up if you're volunteering to read today, because it looked like my regular reader is not present. Anybody volunteering to read today? Well, we can't teach if we ain't got a reader, y'all. Somebody got to volunteer and give it up. We ready to let that juice out the box. All right, I guess I got to read for myself.
Yeah, shalom.
You got me?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll read. Although I may have to get pulled to the side here and there. Just depends. Everybody's asleep right now, so I'm cool. So
All right, let's rock and roll. See if we can do this. Here come the hard part, y'all. Standing up.
well, you might as well sit down.
I can't sit down yet. If it forces me to sit down, I'll sit down. But I'm gonna do the best I can with standing up first. All right, and then if I get forced to sit down, if I fall down, Iman, just get some of that water and pull on my face and rub it in, and then I'll get up. All right, let's rock and roll, family. We're gonna go to the book of Genesis. Today's lesson was Adam and Eve, the first people on the earth, or the first people. Now, remember last week, family, we left off with the book of Genesis, chapter 1. Today, we're going to do the book of Genesis, chapter 2. Last week, we read about how all people on the planet were supposed to be eating fruit and vegetables, that the original intention for man was not for man to eat meat. The original intention for man was for man to eat vegetation and not meat. But we missed out on that one because a lot of us will suck a meat neck bone dry. We suck a pork chop till it ain't no more pork on it. You know, we suck a neck bone till there ain't no more neck in it. Yeah, we can't help ourselves. We love that meat. Ham hocks, pig feet, pork chops, duck, chicken. Oh, we ate some. Black people number one in eating chicken. Well, anyway, the whole thing is that we weren't supposed to eat meat at all. And we chose to eat meat. And that brought about a whole lot of things. But if you look in Genesis 1, 28, 29, you'll see where man wasn't made to eat meat. 29 and 30. And Brother Asa, I'm glad you're here because it's something I wanted to talk to you about too. We had a little conversation last week in the class about Genesis, the first chapter, verse 14. It talks about the creation of the sun and the moon. Well, actually, it talks about the creation of lights in the heavens. And we know that those lights in the heavens was the sun and the moon. And Brother Asa, you brought out a very interesting point. And we dealt with the governed part, okay? But the governed part ain't the part that I want to talk about because what I said I stand on. But the part that I want to talk about is one of the comments that you made, Brother Asa. And this is not an attack at all. This is just something for correction for you to think about and consider. You had the understanding that the full moon was the moon in its fullness, the first day of creation, because it governed over the night. Am I correct so far, Brother Asa? Brother Asa, am I correct so far? That you believe?
Yes, that was the view, that it rules all through the night. It's the only moon that will go from sunset the day before to
Brother Asa, am I
sunrise.
correct so far? Okay.
Yes.
What I want you to
Yes,
consider,
that was
I want you to consider this, Brother Asa. Naturally, the full moon only governs one night. There's 29 and 3/4 days in a month, sometimes 28, but 29 and 3/4 days in a month. The moon goes through phases. So you only see a full moon technically one night, maybe two. And if by chance you see it 3 nights, which there is sometimes, the full moon will be so big, you can't tell if it's the full moon or a little bit of a gibbous moon or humpback moon. You can't tell because it'll appear to be a full moon. But the max you're going to get out of that is 3, maybe 4. But naturally, on a normal order of a process, you only get that full moon one night. So how much governing is it going to do over the night if it's going through these stages? You got 29 and 3/4 days in a month, but the full moon is only reigning that one night. So therefore, it deletes that from ruling over the night. Sometimes you don't even have a moon in the sky, but sometimes it is there. And when it is there, it's different stages. It progresses through different stages throughout that 29 and 3/4 days. Not like the sun. The sun usually reigns in the daytime, the majority through the day. Usually through the day, we see the sun, usually. And then sometimes the sun is blotted out. You can't see it too often. But most times the sun is there. Most times there's not a full moon. So that should give you a little bit of understanding that that moon, it couldn't have meant that that full moon was that new moon because it was going to govern over all the nights. It's impossible. It doesn't work that way. The sun's revolution is different from the moon's revolution. That's why one is called the greater light and one is called the lesser light. So I pray that that helps a little bit in your understanding the difference between the two, being there to guard the day and the night. All right. So that's just Prince's understanding of it. If you would like to say something, brother, I'll be patient and let you the opportunity to speak.
Okay, thanks for that additional insight on it. There is one. Yes, you did say that there's one night it really rains all through. The use of the sun, the moon, and the stars in that Genesis 1 instruction. What do we make of the stars? I don't want to detract from the point, but the only time that all three will actually, the two will actually be together is on that full moon night. Is there something to make of it?
No, that's not accurate. The stars are always in the sky. It's very rarely that you don't see the stars. The reason, see, when you live in the country, excuse me, when you live in the country, you can see the stars almost every night. Majority of every night, you'll see the stars. When you live in a city, because there's so many other lights and so much fog, you can barely see the stars. But in the country, we out in the country, we live on 110 acres of land in Georgia. We see the stars almost every night. They're always there. They're there more than the moon. Almost every night.
More and more too.
Yeah. So they definitely there. And also I want you to know this about the stars. Whew. The stars are in the heavens. If you ever learn to read the stars, which a lot of people don't take the time to do, but I would applaud you to learn what different stars mean, their location. If you learn those things, if you ever take the time to read the stars, they will be used as a navigational system to show you different parts of the earth and how to get in certain places. They're there almost every night, unless you got a cloudy night, in which very rarely you got a cloudy night. But the stars are a navigational map in the sky, and it will show you how to get. All you got to do is follow that one star. Keep walking in direction of that one star, and it'll lead you to a certain place on the earth every time without fail. And if you look at that star that's right above where you are when you start, that's your map back home. But you got to be able to remember these things. You got to know these things. People today, we don't look to the heavens for anything. Therefore, we don't know a whole lot like our forefathers knew. So yeah, the star is always there, bro. The moon is very rarely there, and the sun is definitely not there at night because its job is to be stationed in the heavens during the day. So if there's anything else, bro, just please ask it. It's very important that we come to an understanding.
Well, there's nothing else in terms of asking about it, but at another time, I hope that we can look at, if not the full moon, what scriptural text will justify the slither or the conjunction phase as a guide for the start of the month.
Yeah, I just gave you one. That was Genesis 14:1. I mean, Genesis 1:14. That will be one. But I have quite a few of them. I'm actually one of the founders of the One Nation Calendar Coalition. I am one of the founders who formulated the One Nation Calendar Coalition. And we did a whole research on that. We did a whole documentation. We had to present it to different congregations throughout the United States. We would travel around and present the information that we found. And we are responsible for giving out the holy dates for the year for anyone who will accept it. We put them on, the website is onenationcalendarcoalition.org.com or .net. onenationcalendarcoalition.org.com or .net. If you go there, you'll see the whole write-up we have about the moon, the sun, the stars, all that stuff is there. And you can gather some information there about why the crescent. Yes?
Okay, and that study would have made reference to Psalm 81:3 regarding blowing up the shofar in the new moon.
How about you read that for us? That's a very good command. Read that.
Well, if I read it, I will have to read to stop at verse 5.
It's cool.
Okay, it says, shout for joy to Elohim, our strength, raise a shout to the Elohim of Jacob. Lift up a song and beat the tambourine, the pleasant lyre, and with the harp. Verse 3, blow a shofar in the new moon, in the covering for the day of our festival. For this is a law for Israel and a right ruling of the Elohim of Jacob. Verse 5, he appointed it in Joseph for a witness. When he went through out the land of Mizraim, I heard a language that I did not know. And the reason I added, I mentioned verse 5 in it, is because it refers to a specific time, referring to Joseph. So if it's a case where it's used generally or for more than 1 day, well, what I should do is ask the question, what appointment verse 3 is referring to in the context of verse 5.
Read verse 3 and 4 again.
Blow a shofar in the new moon, in the covering for the day of our festival. Some versions says keseh, the Hebrew word, which is for full moon.
Okay, say it might be kisei. I don't know what it is because I'm not there. I don't have the Ibrit, but I believe it's kisei. Kisei doesn't mean full moon. Kisei mean moon, or kisei could mean month. Now, Yareya means moon. Yareya means moon and not month. Moon, but we do have terminology that a lot of people use whenever they reference the moon. They reference a month. Kisei means month, not moon, but kisei also mean new. So now let's look at this reference here. The word that you're missing is kisei. It means to cover. Okay, kisei means to cover. So in covering, when does the moon begin to be covered with light?
But if it is covered with light.
Cover, it means to begin to be covered. Covering, kisei means to cover.
Right.
So when does the covering start?
Well, the covering starts, but does it says to begin to be covered?
It doesn't say begin, it says covering.
So it's been covering?
It's covering. Kisei means to cover. Yes. It doesn't say it's completely covered, but it says to cover. Yes.
So I mean, it's always there.
It's covering. The moon is always, Yareya is always in the sky. Yareya is the moon itself. All right. I did a whole write-up on this too. I might be able to pull it up for you and read it exactly for verbatim for what it says. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's covering. No, it's covering with light from the sun. Let me see if I can find it for you.
Be the full moon because it's fully covered with light, and that would be
The full moon.
also the term of
Is
Yeah.
there a Hebrew word for full moon?
No, not that I know of.
Because when I'm looking, I don't know if you refer to the Brown Driver Briggs or of any of these dictionaries, but it really mentions H3677 full moon as kisei.
Okay. Well, I won't argue with that. Read 3 and 4 again, please.
Okay, 3 and 4 says, blow a shofar in the new moon, comma, in the covering for the day of our festival.
Okay. Now think about this for a second. That doesn't mean that that's the date of our months. I'll accept that's the full moon. Okay. You ready? Let's go this way. Let's say that's the full moon, and I will accept that in the days of our festivals. Okay. I cannot argue with that. Let me stand to be corrected on this issue right here. The days of our festivals, and I'm glad you point that out because that's a good point. Now let's deal with it in this manner. What festivals are they talking about?
Well, I could not pluralize it to say festivals because it says for he appointed it in Joseph for a witness at a specific time. So because of that, I would say it is referring to one particular event.
No, that's not what you just read.
Particular.
That's not what you just read. What you just read said festivals. That's plural.
Oh, well, no, actually in the TS 2009, it says festival, singular.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to look it up in the e-read, see what it says. But what festival would that be?
Well, if there's only one festival that starts at
Really?
on a new moon, the trumpets.
And what day of the
Yom
month?
Teruah. Yom
And what
Teruah,
day-
first day of the 7th month.
No, bro. Okay. That's an issue. Let's look at it for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's look at it for a minute. It said your feast days, is that correct? Or feast day?
Depends on, well, the TS says
3. Forget TSA. What verse 3 says?
blow a shofar in the new moon, in the
Uh-huh.
covering for the day of our festival.
In the first day of your what?
Our festival.
Okay. Where is Yom Teruah considered to be a festival? What book is that written in?
Well, we know that they're all referred in Leviticus 23.
Go to Leviticus 23 and see if Yom Teruah is a festival.
While I navigate to it, I know it doesn't really call it a festival. It's just a day of blowing.
There's 3 festivals that the children of Israel have throughout a year.
Oh yeah, the 3.
There's 3. There's only 3 festivals.
Yeah, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot.
So which one of those festivals did we blow the shofar on? All 3. All 3. And do you know what? Each one of those festivals arrived on the 15th day of the month around the time of a new moon. The full moon, not a new moon, a full moon. Each one of those festivals arrived around the time of the full moon.
Is there a text for that?
Yeah. What day was Pesach?
14th, the first month.
14th day of the month, right? Am I right so far? Pesach
Yes.
is the 14th day at Eve, which is what day of the month? The 15th day. That's the middle of the month. That's a full moon. You ready?
Well, no, I'm not ready because I want to know at what point do we assume that the 15th is full moon from a text. I know that's where we normally start discussions, but a little bit before that, we need to have something that actually says the 15th day of the month is full moon.
Listen, this is
We
what
we don't really have that in scriptures.
you don't have to have it in scripture. You see it in nature. You can
Okay.
follow it. You can go out in the middle of the 15th of any month. Go out in the sky and look up. If the moon is present, you'll see a full moon. All you gotta do is go out in the heavens, go out in the earth in the middle of the month on the 15th day and look up, and you should see a full moon. But that's just Pesach. We only covered one. Okay, the Feast of Weeks, 49. After that, the next day, you kept the holy day. It should be a full moon on that day as well. And Shavuot, Sukkot. Let's deal with Sukkot. What day of the month was Sukkot kept on?
15th.
The 15th day. So we have 2 without a doubt on the 15th day. Sukkot is actually 49. Shavuot is actually 49:50 the next day, which would be the 15th day of that month, because the 14th is 7 times 7. So that next day will be the 15th day, and you'll have a full moon. Every one of those, and not only that, each one of those holy days was called a Chag, and a Chag was considered to be the festival days, celebration, feast, returning. That's what a Chag was considered to be. And you can look at that in Ivrit and it explain it to you. That was done every 15th day of the month. That was a Chag. Now, if we kept the 15th day and you say, as what I understand you to be saying, let's say the 15th day is saying that, well, we follow the white man's calendar, so the full moon is off because we will really start with the full moon to be the first day of the month. Then the 15th day of the month will be what kind of moon? It will be a crescent moon.
Conjunction. It would be dark.
It'll be either the conjunction or a crescent moon, one or the other. So there you go. There is no moon in the sky, so what moon would you be celebrating if it's a conjunction?
Well, we're not celebrating a moon, you know. You did say that
You know what I mean?
if I use nature,
Yeah.
we can use the deduction of nature to say the 15th of the month we go out, we'll always see a full moon. But I could also say that when Israel was being directed out of the land of Mizraim, it was, I could say that was a dark time, but Yah himself was the light. And that's why he had to be there hovering over them to guide them through.
Where'd you get that from?
No, I'm saying we have an assumption that
Let's not assume.
it's
Let's not
always
Let's
a full
not-
moon, and the first of the month is always a dark moon.
My brother,
I'm saying, where do we get that from?
let's not assume. Let's deal with what it says. Let's deal with what we know, what the scripture says. What does it say that the Most High was going to be our light when we left out of Egypt?
No, man. What I'm saying is that there is a text that says that guide them by day and by night, according to the cloud, and according to I'd have to find that text that really says that.
We don't need to look that up. I understand and I concur with that. But that's after we had already left. That's after we left Egypt. But that night that we left was on the 15th of the month, and it was a full moon.
No, I'm saying I agree that it's the 15th, but there's no text that says it was a full moon. You said that we'd have to look at nature to deduce that.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what I heard you say.
Yeah, I don't know the word for full moon. Kisei will be the only closest word that I would know.
But it's nowhere in the text in scriptures that says the 15th of a month is a full moon.
No, I don't think we're going to find that in scriptures. I can go look that up to determine that, but I don't think we're going to find that in scriptures. Can I read this portion here? Would that be all right?
Thanks.
Okay. I try to blow it up a little bit so the family can see it. Can you all see that? Okay, it says the biblical new moon is the first crescent. If the Jews was keeping the feast days at the correct time, then they would also be keeping the new moons at the right time. And how will they determine the new moons in Yeshua's days? Notice, during a period of Sanhedrin met to evaluate reports to sightings, lunar crescents. Each lunar month began with the new moon, sanctioned by recognizing of the Sanhedrin. Policy dictated that 2 witnesses in 2 different locations in or near Jerusalem just testified to the sighting of the new moon, which was a crescent. A vote by the Sanhedrin was then required to officiate reckoning of the new moon's beginning. The Sanhedrin originally determined the new moon by actually observing the first faint crescent or young moon in the western sky. Notice that the Biblical Encyclopedia Insight on the Scripture has to say, prosthetic times in Mishnah, Rosh Hashanah stated that the Jewish Sanhedrin met early in the morning on the 30th day of each of the 7th months in the year to determine the time of the new moon. Watchmen was posted on high villages points around Jerusalem and carried immediately report the Jewish court after sighting the new moon. Each received sufficient testimony. The court announced it is consecrated, officially marking the start of the new moon. If cloudy skies or fog considered possible visibility, then the preceding month was declared to have had 30 days, and the new moon began the day following the court's assembly. It is always said that further announcement was made by a signal fire, which was bonfires, lit on the Mount of Olives, which was then repeated on higher points throughout the country. This method was evidently replaced later by dispatching of messengers. All right. So from the research that I've done, our forefathers kept the crescent new moon as the beginning of the month. It's not just something that we just want to do just because we want to do it. It's what our forefathers did that we understood from the research that we were actually able to find out. Okay, I have something else for you. Let me pull this up.
While you pull that up, are you aware that the mention of the word crescent in the Tanakh
Mhm.
is only referred to in relation to pagan worship?
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. But we're not worshiping the moon, just as you pointed out earlier. All right? Chodash. You see that word, Chodash? Chodash means new moon. Is derived from the Hebrew root HDSH, meaning new, or to make new or renew. The new moon crescent is called Chodash because it is the first time of the month is seen anew after being hidden for several days in the end of the lunar year. So after that concealed or the conjunction, and a conjunction can last for 3 or 4 days. That's another problem. The new moon, the full moon can last for 2 or 3 days, sometimes 4, and the conjunction can last 2 or 3 days, sometimes 4. But the crescent moon only lasts for a day. That's it. And it don't even last for a day. It only lasts for a couple hours. Then it's gone. Because it is the first time the moon is seen anew after being hidden for several days at the end of the lunar cycle. At the end of the lunar cycle, the moon is close to the sun and eventually reaches the point of what they call conjunction, when it passes between the sun and the earth. As a result of this, very little of the moon's illumination surface faces the earth at the time of conjunction, and it is not visible through the infinite brighter glare of the sun. After the moon moves past the sun, it continues on toward the opposite side of the earth. As it travels further away from the sun, the percentage of its illumination surface faces the earth, it increases. And one evening, shortly after sunset, the moon is seen anew after being invisible for 1.5 to 3.5 days. You see how long the conjunction can last? From 1 day to almost 4 days. Since the moon is seen anew after a period of invisibility, the ancients called it new moon or Chodesh, from Hadash, meaning new. Clearly, the determination of the new moon day and the start of the month of the new moon crescent is that approved and actually kept by the Messiah himself. Nowhere does the Bible authorize us to do otherwise. All right?
The crescent is very is 13 days away from the 15th, the full moon. So whenever you can check for yourself, whenever you sight a crescent moon and you count the number of days from crescent to a full moon, you'll get 13 days. You will not get 15 days.
You'll get 15 days. The crescent is the first day. If
15 days from the crescent is actually not a full moon. It's gonna be we call it, a waning moon.
Waning?
Yeah.
No. Okay, I'll tell you what, bro. Just for the sake of argument, go out and count it. Find the first slither of light, the first crescent moon, and then you go out and count. I've lived this for many years. I've lived it for many years, and I've done the counting. I did the research. I did the math, and I know what it is that I'm speaking of right now, and I'm not guessing. Go out and count the first day of the crescent moon, the very first crescent. Sometimes the crescent moon doesn't appear on the first day. You might see the crescent 2 or 3 days old. That may be what you're saying. You got to find the crescent on its first day. Sometimes the weather is not allowing you to see it. If the weather is not allowing you to see it, then you won't see it on the first day. Go out on the very first day of the crescent moon. You count 14 days. Go to the sunset, and you'll see a full moon. There's no question in my mind about it. I already know. I've been there. I've done it too many times. It's definitely the 15th day of the month. You'll see a full moon. The moon don't make mistakes. We do. The moon has its order given by the Creator, and it does what the Most High says what to do. All right. So maybe we can have further conversation at a later time if you choose.
Sure.
Well, I can share with you my research, in my notes, and you can look those over as well.
Thank you.
Always, man. This is what we do. I can share them. I need you to hit me up in my messenger so I can exchange numbers and information with you so we can keep this thing moving. All right, Ben, you available?
No, he's in here.
Thank you.
Okay, he's not available. All right.
Yeah, Kane, everybody, literally, like everybody just got up about 5-6 minutes ago, and so I'm gonna have to kind of assist.
So you're not available?
Lo, not to read. I'm still here, but I'm not available to read.
All right.
I'll have some noise in the back.
Total Sister Ornette, are you here? Have you arrived yet, Sister Ornette, Sister TT, either of you?
If you don't mind, I'll help with the reading.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Greatly appreciated. Babe, Ima, go into the notes and take down Brother Asa's number for me, please. All right, Brother Asa, we're in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, verse 1. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, I got to prepare y'all before I even get reading. I got to tell y'all this. You're in store for some information that you probably never heard before. So be ready to go on a journey, be ready to travel. Get your notebooks, your pens, your papers, and take down things, write down things, and I'm going to teach you some stuff. All right? Let's rock and roll.
Okay. Genesis 2, verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed, and all their array.
So now the heavens and the earth were completed, and all the things that was in the proper alignment was done. Read on.
And in the seventh day, Elohim completed his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
And
Elohim blessed the seventh day and set it apart, because on it he rested from all his work which Elohim in his creating had made.
now you'll hear a lot of people ask the question. There's a lot of controversy throughout the earth. There's a lot of controversy throughout the earth. When you debate certain people on the scriptures, like different religions and things of that nature, they say, well, your God was tired. Your God got lazy. Your God got exhausted, and he had to rest on the 7th day. Well, that's not what that means. That means he ceased from all of his works. He ceased it. But y'all got to keep in mind also that that's not the creator. That's Elohim. So even if they did rest, that's Elohim and not the Almighty. So if they did rest, they rested. But it ain't the Almighty that we're talking about. We're about to be introduced to the Almighty. Now, when they start mentioning the Almighty, they use a different name before they use Elohim. They use a different name. And that name is Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is only introduced. The first place where it's introduced in the book of Genesis is in the 2nd chapter. Nowhere in the 1st chapter do you see Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. You know why? Because Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh ain't had nothing to do with that. That was Elohim doing the works in the 1st chapter of Genesis. And they didn't do anything except draw up a blueprint and say, Father, this is what we would like to do. The Father had to accept it or reject it. So in the Father's accepting certain things, he let certain things be the way that he wanted them to be. But then there were certain things that he didn't accept, and he changed them. And we're going to read in the 2nd chapter some of the changes that he made. You see where they created man? It doesn't say where they created man from, did it? Or when they formed man? It doesn't say where they formed man from. It just says, and they formed man in their image, and after their likeness, Bezaltenu, after their likeness. That's all it says. It doesn't say where he was formed from. So even if they formed that man, they formed the essence of the man and not the man himself, because the power of thought is powerful. Read on, please.
These are the birds of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heavens. Now, no shrub of the field was yet on the earth, and no plant of the field had yet sprung up, for Yahweh Elohim had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a mist went up from the earth and watered the entire surface of the ground. And Yahweh Elohim formed the man out.
Stop. Now, we got to pay attention to this. He said, taking notes, family. He said, scripture said, There was no man in the field. There was nothing in the field. And that a mist from the ground came up and watered the earth. Did y'all see that? Read that part again, please.
But a mist went up from the earth and watered the entire surface of the ground.
A mist came up, and that's how the earth got its water. That's how the vegetations got to grow. It didn't rain, Geshen. It didn't rain. Geshen was something new. Rain was something new that we didn't have on the earth. That's why in the days of Noah, when Noah said it's going to rain, nobody believed him because it never happened before. Noah said it's going to rain, it's going to rain. They said, what? Man, get out of here with that nonsense. A mist came up from the earth and watered the ground. So nobody believed Noah that the water was going to fall from the sky. Nobody believed him. And guess what? They paid dearly for not believing him. All right, read on, please.
And Yahweh Elohim formed the man out of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils
Now,
breath of life.
Who did that?
Yahweh Elohim.
Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh.
Yes.
Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh did that. None other. He breathed into man. He took dirt from the earth. See, this is the difference between what we were accustomed to and what we find out to be a fact right now. He breathed into the man, and man became a living soul. Read on.
And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden in Eden to the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed.
I think I moved too fast. Let me slow down a little bit. Go back to verse 7, please, and read that again, please.
And Yahweh Elohim formed the man out of dust from the ground.
Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, 1 second. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh formed man from the dust of the ground. Afar is the dust. From the dust of the eretz, of the ground. Hadoma is the ground. And watch what happened after he formed man from the dust of the ground. What it says? And he did what?
Breathed his nostrils breath of life.
He blew into his nostrils Chaim. Now, Chaim, we ordinarily think that Chaim means the breath that we breathe it in and blowing out. That's not necessarily what Chaim means in this instance. It does mean that, but it goes a little different. It meant he gave him all, because the word Chaim is life. It means life. So what the Creator blew into Adam at that time was every one of us. Every one of us that are in existence. The breath of lives is in the plural. Lives. He blew the breath of lives in Adam. And every one of the physical bodies that we have, because all of our physical flesh come from Adam. We don't come from Adam, but our physical flesh comes from Adam. And it was blown into Adam, put into his loins. They say that a woman carries every seed from the moment she's conceived. Thank you for that correction, Ima. You are so imperative right now. That a woman carries every egg in her loins from the time of her conception. Well, before her conception, she still had those in her loins. Before she was even thought about, before her mother was conceived, that woman who came from her mother, they were still in her loins, and so on and so on and so on and so on. You follow me? That's what takes place when a man enters into a woman. His semen goes into a woman, and that woman takes form. Everything that we have inside of ourselves as men, it already exists within us. And then when we meet a certain woman, she helps us to bring out a certain body form and a certain shape of the individual. But that child is contained within our loins already here. I was in my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's loins, who passed it down to my father or grandfather, great-grandfather, who passed it down to the great-great-grandfather, who passed it down to the grandfather, who passed it down to my father, and then passed it down to and I came forward. And now all those seeds that I have was in my father many generations ago, and I have the ability to pass them on. That's how we are reborn through our sons over and over and over. Adam carried all the seeds of lives within him when the Most High blew within him. Read on, please.
And out of the ground Yahuwah Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food.
Now, do you remember the last story in Genesis 1? What was the first thing created on the earth? The trees and the vegetation. Not here. Adam was the first thing created. And then the trees came about. Did y'all notice that difference? See, that's one of the things that the Father changed. In Genesis 1, the trees and the vegetations and all that stuff, I think it starts around verse 6, I think it is, 6 or 7. Those things was formed and created according to Genesis 1. Elohim, when they did their thing, they had the trees being formed before man. Man was last in the 6th day. But according to when the Most High steps in, Yohei Wahe, now man was first. The creation of man was first, and then the trees. But watch what else happens. Read on, please.
And out of the ground Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
And what was these trees good for? It says they were good for food. And we got to get back to the natural way of doing things. And we have to begin to take our trees, our vegetation, our herbs, and utilize them for food. We have to get back to the earth. For in the earth you find your strength. We came from the earth, and Hashu, we shall return back to the earth. Read on, please. That's why it's so good to ground. Take your shoes off and walk around in the soil. It regenerates you. It gives you energy. And it helps to also cure sicknesses and disease.
Before I proceed, can you expound on the tree of the knowledge of good and evil?
No, I cannot. I can't speak on anything the Creator ain't give me to speak on. So he hasn't given me anything about the tree of knowledge of good and evil that I can speak on right now. All I know is that it's in the midst of the garden.
Right.
That's
And
all
a river, yes. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided and became 4 heads.
So then the river went out from the garden and divided into 4 heads. One is going to be a place where all this gold is, the land of Havilah. Read on, please. And this is also going to show you that this book was written after life had already began and been living for a while, because they're going to speak about continents and things of that nature that was in existence. Read on, please.
The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Awila,
You see
where
that?
there is gold.
It's already there. These lands had names. Well, in the time of Adam, they didn't have names. So this book wasn't written in the time of Adam. It was written after Adam. Read on, please.
And the gold of that land is good. Bdellium is there, and the Shoham stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Edekel. It is the one which goes toward the east of Asher. And the fourth river is the Euphrates.
Now, all of these rivers are in existence today that I know of. But I did hear the Euphrates River was drying up. And a lot of people believe that that's a prophecy toward the end of the world, end of time when the Euphrates dried up. Read on, please.
And Yahuwah Elohim took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to guard it.
So now pay close attention to this. The Most High, not Elohim, but Yohei Wahe Elohim, is clarifying which Elohim took the man and placed him in the Garden of Eden. Had it ever crossed your mind, where was he before the Most High put him in the Garden of Eden? Where was he? Because he was a man walking around with a body. Where was he? So he placed the man in the Garden of Eden and going to give the man a set of instructions. Read on, please.
And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, Eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die.
So you were commanded as a man. You can eat of any tree except this one particular tree. Don't eat of it. In the day that you eat of it, you shall die. Do you realize that all these things happened on the same day? All these things we're reading right now happened on the same day. He didn't say one day to the next day to the next day. Read on, please.
And Yahuwah Elohim said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I'm going to make a helper for him
Now
as
watch
his
this.
counterpart."
Now watch this. I don't want your mind to run. Hey, y'all. Hey. I don't want your mind to run anywhere, and ladies, don't get offended, okay? But ladies, to put it lightly, you are an afterthought. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the Creator. You are afterthought. Don't get mad at Prince. Prince didn't create this. I only brought it out. Now watch how it goes. Read that verse again, bro. You are the best thought. Yes, you are the best thought, but you are afterthought. Watch how it goes. The Creator saw that man was lonely. And the Creator said, let me create something to keep man comfortable, happy. And well, watch what it says. That's why they say a dog is a man's best friend. Read on, please.
And from the ground, Yahuwah Elohim formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens.
Now,
and
where the
brought
birds
them-
come from? Where the birds come from?
The heavens.
No. Where the birds come from?
Beast of the field.
It says, and from the Adama, the ground.
Ground.
All these things came from the ground. But in the last Genesis 1, as I pointed out last week, the birds came from the water. And all the beasts came from the dirt. So the Creator changed several things from Genesis 1 to Genesis 2. He's saying he changed several formations of things. But read that verse again, please.
And from the ground, Yahuwah Elohim formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them.
Now,
And
what was
whatever
his
the man-
reason? What was his reason for creating these things? The verse right before that says what? What is
I'm going to make a helper for him.
a helper, a helpmate? He said he's gonna make a helper for Adam. And when he thought about making a helper for Adam, what did he create? He created all the animals, all the birds, and brought them to Adam, and Adam gave them names. Read on.
So the man gave names to all livestock, and to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. But for the man there was not found a helper for him as his
Stop right
counterpart.
there. Stop right there for a minute. Why was it imperative that Adam gave names to all the animals of the field?
So he would know and they would know who they are.
So what?
So he would know and they would know who they are.
So he would know and they would know who they are. Okay, that's one way to look at it. I like that. That's a good one. Anybody else? Why was it imperative that Adam named the animals of the field? Yes.
Because he needed to know what animal they were.
Yes. Ima?
Because to show, it's kind of like a possessive thing.
There you go.
Put his-
Come up closer so they can hear you. Come up closer, they can hear you. You close. Why was it
Like a
important?
possessive thing, like when you have a child and you name it,
Mhm.
you name it something that belongs, something that connects to you. So it would know who named it, who's over it, who governs it, basically.
That's right. Because Adam was the master of everything in the planet, everything on the earth. Adam gave his name to those things. Not his name, but he gave the name that he picked for each one of these creatures to be called to show his dominance over that being. Every animal, everything in creation was submissive to Adam. All animals are supposed to be submissive to Adam, to man. Therefore, Adam named all of these things to show his dominance over them. Watch, it's going to reveal itself. Read on, please.
So Yahuwah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he
You
took
missed
one of
something.
his.
You missed something. You missed something.
Okay, so the man gave names to all livestock, and to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. But for the man there was not found a helper for him as his counterpart.
So with all the animals, all the beasts of the field, there was nothing found for Adam. So the Creator said, I don't want any of these things to be compatible with him. They're not suitable for him. So any man that's committing bestiality is doing against the law, because the Creator didn't want you to be laying and cohabiting with animals. So bestiality is absolutely out of the question. No bestiality.
Hey, Abba, may I ask a question?
Yes.
So, yeah, because this is a question that I've always had when it comes to this topic, right? As far as if Adam and Eve was the first people. So, some, okay, so I've heard that, of course, in Christianity, they teach that Adam and Eve was the first people. But then I've also heard that, it been taught that Adam and Eve was not the first people. So if they weren't the first people, when it says that Adam was alone, or Adam was alone, is it saying that there just was not a woman for him, or was there no woman, period? You get what I'm saying?
All right. That answer is going to come out a little bit later on.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. But that's a great question. Okay. So actually, in reality, we see that there was nothing else on the earth but Adam. No one was there but Adam. And the Creator created Adam. He said, hey, he needs some company. If there was other people in other parts of the earth, he could have just brought those people over, but he didn't. He created animals and livestock and birds. And then they wasn't suitable for Adam. So he calls Adam, the part where we at now, to go into a deep sleep. Read on, Brother Asa.
So Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. And the rib which Yahweh Elohim had taken from the man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man.
Now watch this. He calls Adam to go to sleep. And the first surgery was performed. The first surgery ever was performed. He cut the man open and took a portion of the man out of the man, and he created what they call woman. And then he brought the woman to man. Why did the Creator have to bring the woman to the man?
So that he would know that the Most High gave it to him.
For the same reason, yes, for the same reason as the animals, so that that man will have dominion over that woman. He took that woman and gave her a name. You're going to see where Adam gave her a name and called her woman, for she come out of man. And when he gave her that name, that established him as being the authority over her. When a man takes a woman in marriage, he takes her and she takes his last name traditionally. But then you'll find some simps, weaker versions of men, they'll take the woman's last name. Yeah, some people do that. But according to how Israelite culture is, this is why men got to be on point, man. Men got to be as sharp as they can possibly be. Men got to serve the Creator, fear the Creator to the best of their ability, because it's imperative that they walk according to the auspice that the Most High has put in place. The guidelines, the rules, the regulations that the Father put in place, because you have so much authority. Israelite men is even above that man that come from Adam. We're even above them because we have superiority over the heavens and the earth, over everything in creation. That's why you only see the prophets of Israel who are able to perform great miracles in the sky, hold the sun, stand still for a minute, command the waters and the oceans to move, to stand back and create a wall so my people could pass through. The Creator gave that kind of power and authority only to Israel, because Israel are Elohim. Israel not Adam. We're not the sons of Adam, but yet we are in this flesh because it's a punishment. We are trapped in this flesh, and we're going to die like men if we don't obey the Most High. All right, we'll get into all that stuff later. All that stuff will be cleared up later. I just wanted to give you a teaser for later on. Read on, please.
And a small question. He brought her to the man. Couldn't the man approach her?
No, he didn't need to. No. See, if he would have approached her, then she had the authority. Think about it. The man who is a king, do you see the king approaching his peasants? No, the peasants come to the king. If you got an elder in a city, the elder is not supposed to come to you. You're supposed to go to the elder. That's the way that goes. She had to come before him. And then as the sovereign, he dictate whatever he chose to do to her. And she surrendered, she submitted. All that's verified throughout the scripture. When you get those women say, I'm an independent woman, and she don't believe in Torah. If you got a Hebrew woman saying she independent, then she don't believe in Torah. Because every woman is supposed to be subjected to the authority of a man. In this walk, every woman is supposed to be subjected to the authority of a man. And if she doesn't want to be, she don't have to be, but she can't say she's serving the Creator. She absolutely can't, because that's not how the Most High orchestrated it. And she could be as successful as she want to be, but spiritually, she'll never be in tune with the Almighty. She has to have, if she's not married to the man, she has to have a covering who is obedient to the Most High as her covering, and she has to obey his voice. If he says, don't go there today, then she ain't supposed to go. If he say dress a certain way, then she's supposed to dress a certain way. That's just law. Read on, please.
And the man said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one is called woman, because she was taken out of man.
He said, I'm going to call you woman, Isha, my woman, because you was taken out of flesh. Read on, please. Out of my flesh.
For this cause, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife.
Now watch
and they
this.
shall become one flesh.
Now watch this. For this cause, he said, Isha, he brought her to him, claimed her as his woman, my woman. And for this cause of a man claiming this woman as his wife, a man shall leave his father first, then his mother, and shall cleave to his wife. What does that mean? That means, brother, you can't be living in your mama and your daddy's home talking about you got a wife. You know how many Israelites today live in a woman's home that she established, that she worked hard to get? She had to be a little slow to let you move in, but she didn't want to give up her dominance. Therefore, she let you move into her home that you can never put her out of. And when she get mad at you, she can always tell you to leave, but you can't tell her nothing because you don't own nothing over here. That's by design. A man is supposed to take a woman and put her in a place that he provides for her, even if it's a room. If he can only afford a room, then put her in a room. If you get an apartment, put her in an apartment. You get a house, put her in a house. You get a mansion, put her in a mansion. But it has to be something that you provide for her. Scripture says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother. You follow me? And cleave, become one with his wife. But now that don't mean that that's the only wife he could become one with. Just like she is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, she's joint to me. He can have more joint to him. He can have more than one wife joint to him. Multiple. Read on, please.
And they were both naked, the man and his wife, yet they were not ashamed.
And they were both what?
Naked.
They were both naked, but yet nobody was ashamed. Why? Because they was innocent. They had nothing to hide from. What's the next verse?
That's the chapter 3, verse 1.
All right, I think I missed something. Oh, he didn't name her Eve yet, did he? He didn't name her Hava. He didn't name her Hava yet, right? No, I didn't hear that. All right, go ahead. Next chapter 3, please.
And the Nahash was more crafty than all the lives of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said to the woman,
your book says Nakash?
yes.
Okay. Now, the serpent was more crafty than any beast of the field. The word in Hebrew for serpent is nakash. And nakash means enchantment, it means magic, it means sorcery, anything of the like is the word nakash. And this nakash was very intelligent. He was a more crafty being than any beast of the field. Read on, please.
And he said to the woman, is it true that Elohim has said, do not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the Nakash, we are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, do not eat of it, nor touch it, lest
How
you
does
die.
she know that? How does she know that? She just said that Elohim said, speaking in reference to the Most High, only thing we can eat anything of the garden except the fruit that grows on the tree of garden we can't eat. How does she know that? Her authority gave her commands, and he told her what to do. Did she obey those commands? She obeyed them until she was duped into disobeying them. This is why a man has to be in control of his woman. I know a lot of people don't like that word control. Well, let me explain it to you this way. A woman is only supposed to do what is pleasing to her husband. Anytime a woman does what is not pleasing to her husband, she's working on her own auspices. And that has nothing to do with the Almighty. Even if you don't like what your husband asks of you, you are commanded to do what your husband requires of you. And if your husband constantly having you doing things that you don't like, then you need to ask for a different husband. Ask the Creator to bring you a different husband, because this one is just wicked. But in reality, a woman is supposed to be under the office of her husband. So therefore, Adam only rightly had to tell his wife what she could and what she could not eat. Remember, she was making his food. The proof comes up later on. She was providing him his food, and he would eat it. So of course he had to say, well, that tree we can't eat from. The Creator said we can eat of any tree except that one. So read on, let's see what happens.
And the Nahash said to the woman, you shall certainly not die. For Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good and evil.
He said, you ain't gonna die. The day of you eat of that tree of good and of knowledge and good and evil, you shall be like Chemo, like Elohim. They were already in certain forms like Elohim. Right. What else could they desire? They was living forever. They got dominion over the heavens and the earth. Sometimes we strive for things that we don't need. And that's what Hava did at this particular time. She allowed greed to enter in. The Most High called it sin, chatash, hatat, hatot, well, sins is hatot. Hatash is sin. The Creator calls it sin, the desire of things that you shouldn't desire, that you shouldn't do, that you shouldn't need. We have that, we're prone to it. So when the adversary, Nakash, spoke to her and said, this is what you can have, she started saying, wow, I ain't got this. Let me see if I can get that. If you were meant to have it, you would already have it. So therefore, her nafs opened up and she desired something that she shouldn't have desired, to be like the Most High. Another person said that he thought it not sin to be like the Most High. And that what Paul said about JC? He said he thought it not to be sin. But you shouldn't desire to be like the Almighty. Think about it. The Most High already said that you should inherit the heavens and the earth, Israel. So why would you either take it any other further than that? You don't need any more than that. Stay where you are and be comfortable where you are. And master yourself, discipline yourself to obey what your master has for you to do, just like the woman is supposed to obey what her master has for her to do. Read on, let's see what's next.
And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise. And she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate.
So what she did was she allowed her greed and temptation to set in. She violated the law that was given to her by her husband, who was given to it by the Most High. She violated that, and she partook of this food. The whole history of cycle was out of course after that. The whole intended lifestyle for mankind was changed after that moment. Read on, please. And then she gave it to man. She gave it to her husband to eat. And of course, he trusted that. He trusted that because that was his wife. Read on, please.
Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings for themselves.
So they intervened. They went somewhere and they did something, and their eyes was open after they ate of it. Because whenever you subject yourself to something that you shouldn't do, you will see differently. And they saw that they were naked. And the first thing they did was try to cover themselves up. Who were they covering themselves up from? They were the only people that were there. Who were they hiding from? Read on, please.
And they heard the voice of Elohim walking about in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahuwah Elohim among the trees of the garden.
This knowledge that they obtained caused themselves to hide themselves from the Almighty. That is an indicator that they acknowledge that they did something wicked. All that time they was chilling with the Most High, talking with the Most High, all that stuff. And then after they ate of that fruit of knowledge of good and evil, now all of a sudden they want to hide themselves from the voice. Now, let me say this to you. The voice of the Most High is not the Most High. The voice of the Most High is a servant of the Most High who represented the Almighty, spoke for the Almighty. And that's what came walking. Read that again, please.
They heard the voice of Yahuwah Elohim walking about in the garden in the cool of the day.
Yeah, that's not the Almighty. That's his servant walking around representing the Almighty. And they hid themselves from that voice, from that power, from that authority, because they didn't want to be seen as if he couldn't see them. And watch what happens. Now the Most High going to speak. What did he say?
And Yahuwah Elohim called unto Adam and said to him, Where are you? And
Where
he
are
said,
you, Adam? Not that he didn't know, but where's your mind state? What are you meditating on? What are you trying to do by trying to hide yourself? Read on.
And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself.
I heard your servant walking in the garden, so I hid myself. Watch this. Who told you you were naked? Where'd you get that information from? Read on, please.
And he said, Who made you know that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat? And the man said, The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate. And Yahuwah Elohim said to the woman, What is this you have done? And the woman said, The Nachash deceived me, and I ate.
Now let's back up for a minute. I can't let this slide. Adam, I wish I could push you and excuse my brother, but I can't. I just can't let you go. When the Creator approached Adam and said, Who told you was naked? What did Adam say after that, bro? Brother Asa? He said, Who said you was naked? What did Adam say?
And the man said, The woman you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate.
All right, stop right there for a minute. Brothers, this is what I want to say to you. Always be accountable for the wrong that you do. Don't pass the buck to your female, your lesser part. Don't do that. That shows the weakness of a man. When a man says, it was her fault, then that's showing that you wasn't standing in your authority as a man. You was obeying the rulership of a woman. And no man shall fall under the authority of a woman, ever. Did y'all read my lips? ever. A man should never fall under the authority of a woman, ever. You cannot prosper that way. You can't prosper. It won't happen. I don't care how righteous she is. A man should never fall under the authority of a woman. The Most High has established it that way. It's not that I have anything against women. I love my women. I love them. But we as men have to always be in our nature. And our nature says that we have to be the leaders, the commanders, the orchestrators, and the runners of things. But women will outdo us in a lot of things, but they should never be in a position of leadership to be all, say all, and do all. And in this particular instance, Adam dropped the ball because he was supposed to have been watching over his woman. He's supposed to have been caring after his woman, but he didn't. It's his fault that his woman had the opportunity to talk to Nakash. Because if he'd have been doing his job, his woman would have saw Nakash and turned around and walked away. But he didn't teach her like that. And if he did teach her like that, she ignored it. But then he could have saw that she ignored it and went to the Most High and said, Most High, give me another one. That one ain't going to work. Just like a man, when he got a woman that's disobedient to him, divorce her, run from her. After you give her the opportunity to amend her ways and change her behavior, if she still will not obey your voice, divorce her. You hear my words, right? Divorce her if she will not obey your voice. That spirit will work against you and it will destroy you. It will destroy you. Adam could have turned her into the Creator and said, give me another one. And the Most High would have gave him a better one, more obedient. But he didn't, because she was really the boss running the show. And it shows right there. First thing he said was, oh, that woman you gave me, she did it. She gave to me and I ate. If he would have been doing his job, she wouldn't have gave him nothing because she would have never had it. Read on, please.
And Yahuwah Elohim said to the Nachash, because you have done this, you are cursed more than all livestock and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you are to go and eat dust all the days of your life. And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. To the woman he said, I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception. Bring forth children in pain, and your desire is for your husband, and he does rule over you.
Would that say again? Read that verse again.
To the woman he said, I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception. Bring forth children in pain, and your desire is for your husband, and he does rule over you.
Your desire is to be towards your husband, and he will rule over you. Y'all understand that?
Is that good or bad?
That's excellent. But it's bad when you got a wicked husband. I have a question in the room. If the punishment for women was the man's husband shall rule over you, do you think that Adam may have not been in charge of Eve beforehand, which may have been the reason why she ate? No, he was already in charge. If you'd have been, I think you would sleep, Ishi. That's what I think. Because I covered that earlier in the class, that by him naming her showed that he had dominion and authority over her, simply by calling her by the name that she was to be known by. He already had dominion. The Creator was just confirming it in this particular place. This is not the first time the Creator said this. This is just being confirmed here. But by him giving her names, by him giving the animals their name, it showed that he had dominion and authority over them. All right? So let's go, bro.
And to the man he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which
What did he say? Because you did what?
Because you have listened to the voice of your wife.
Never. Obey the voice of your wife. What I will say is take it into consideration. Take it under advisement. Hear it. And see if what she says makes sense. See if it falls in alignment with proper law and justification to the purpose that you're reading it for. And if that falls in alignment, because a lot of times women have ideals that you can never even think of. A lot of times women be right on point, but we're not talking about a man taking advice in that order after he carefully weighed it and decided that this is the best thing to do. I'm talking about don't never listen to a woman that's telling you and she's commanding you and she's the dictator, she's the boss, she's the head of the household. That shouldn't be. That doesn't mean that just because your wife say it is wicked, is evil, it shouldn't be done. Take it under advisement. Think about it. Play it out and see if it's the best thing to do. Don't just run with it because she says it. Now, a lot of times women be giving up some great, sound, powerful information. I'm just being truthful. But you have to decide if that's what's best for you. And then you move on it. Read on, please. Because you was a simp, Adam, and you obeyed the voice of your woman over the voice of the Almighty. Read on. What happened next?
Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you are to eat of it all the days of your life. And the ground shall...
Curse is the ground because you have sinned, Adam. Adam had dominion over all that was in the earth. Therefore, when the Creator cursed him, the Creator cursed the ground. And he had to work hard to bring forth his food from the earth from that day forward. Read on, please.
And the ground shall bring forth thorns and thistles for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you are to eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you return.
Kiafar hashu, dust thou shalt return. Afar, dust shall return. Read on, please.
And the man called his wife's name Ahwa, because she became the mother of all living.
Now, why did he call, Bang, this is your answer. Why did he call her name Haba?
Ahwa.
Why?
Because she became the mother of all living.
She was the mother of all living. So if she was the mother of all living, who existed before her? Nobody. Nobody.
Nobody.
Couldn't be nobody. That's right. She was the mother of all living. Read on, please.
And Yahuwah Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife, and dressed them. And Yahuwah Elohim said, see, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life, and eat and live forever.
So he said he became like one of us, knowing good and evil. Now, lest he put forth his hand and eat off the tree of life and live forever. We can't have that. Man became knowledgeable, but the Creator didn't make him for that purpose. So he had to protect and separate man from being able to live forever. So what he did was what he's going to read right now. Read on.
So Yahuwah Elohim sent him out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken, and he drove the man out. And he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life.
He put him right back into the place where he originally was before he put him in the Garden of Eden. Yes, Amy.
That makes me think that was
Come
the
up
first-
so they can hear you, please.
That makes me think that was the first job of labor
Yes,
to be given.
yes, that's
Because
absolutely
his
right.
first job was really just peaceful.
He had to do nothing. The food just came up. It just popped up from the earth. And he just got to go pick it and eat it. Or wait for it to fall and eat it. But because he disobeyed the Most High, now he got to till the ground and soil everything and take the seed. And he had to work for his food to eat. Yes. I am so tired.
You are.
Go ahead, bro. Yeah, we almost.
Genesis chapter 4. And
Oh.
Adam knew.
Oh, no, we ain't got time for 4. We're going to pick up on 4 next week. I'm going to sit down. We're going to take questions. Anybody have any questions? Woo! Oh, man. Thank you for reading for me, Brother Asa. Greatly appreciate it. All right. Anybody got any questions?
I don't have a
Well,
question, but I was gonna say you made it through.
Yep.
Yeah, we made it through. May the Most High be praised.
I'm still resting on the idea of the Most High bringing the woman to the man, and it was addressed. But I'm just thinking nowadays, when I see a woman approaching a man, there's a stigma surrounding women like that.
What do you mean?
Well, just the fact that women there's a culture established that women must appear reserved and shy, as opposed to stepping up to a man and talking.
Are you familiar with the story of Ruth?
Yes.
Did you know that Ruth approached Boaz and let him know of her intentions to want to be his wife?
Yes, on the instruction of her mother-in-law.
Exactly. So Eve, Haba, was moving under the instructions of the Most High. Which one is greater?
Understand.
Hmm. All right. Any other questions or comments? Come on, y'all. We got so much going on. That was such a great lesson today. I mean, so much was said.
Again, the word desire.
Yes.
I already asked if it's a good or a bad thing, but what I really want to really identify, what does this desire really mean? Because it seems you can take a tense where desire means she wants him, or she wants to be like him, or she wants to rule over him. Which?
Okay, I'm confused a little bit. Say it again.
Oh, there's the verse. I wish I could navigate to it. The one that says she will desire the man, but the man will rule over her. So it's the word desire that I'm focusing on. Does the desire mean wanting him or wanting to be like him, or desire means that I don't know?
He's asking the word desire doesn't mean to want him, to be like him, or to rule over him.
I don't understand fully what you're saying to me, brother.
Right. Well, let me search for the verse first of all.
Hold on for a second. Slow down a little bit, because my mind ain't all here right now. So let's walk slowly. Your question is, what does the word desire mean?
In this context, where it says, you will desire the man, but he will rule over you.
It means submission. It means the things that you wish to have, your impulses, things that you desire, things that you want to do, your impulses, your submission shall be to that man. But he's going to rule over you. A woman's desire should be to please her husband, period. And if a woman's desire is not to please her husband, she's out of alignment with the Creator. If a woman doesn't have a husband, then she needs a covering to rule over her. And her desire is to please her covering, but her covering has to be of a creatorly nature, of a righteous nature. You follow me?
Yes, I follow.
Mishal, that word Mishal is there again. He shall rule over you or govern over you. That man shall Mishal. That's that same word we have from last week with guard. Mishal. He shall rule over you. He shall protect you. Your desire should be to please him.
Shalom, I have a question.
Yes.
All right, so I want to know if we can kind of like maybe do like a series when it comes to the Genesis, because with what you brought out today, as far as Adam and Eve being the first people, that then raises a few questions for me, just because of how many ideologies I've heard so far when it comes to the Genesis. So I've heard that if Adam and Eve were the only people on earth, and then they had, went on to have children, which was, Cain and Abel, Cain kills Abel, and then he goes off and leaves. But then when he leaves, he goes to another land and then finds a wife. Could you possibly go into like that story? Because I pretty much what I've heard sometimes is that they couldn't have been the only people if Cain was able to go off into another land and then find him a woman.
That's why they call me Prince.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if we could do maybe a series on like the Genesis story,
You want
because
to
I've also
now, or do you want to wait till next week? Because we're gonna cover that next week.
well, yeah, you can go ahead and go into it a little bit now. You know what I mean? Because that's the question. Because I was gonna say too, I've also heard in Ezekiel, how it talks about people being referenced as trees into the garden. So that you've heard that before, right?
Mhm.
So that whole thing, that whole ideology, if we can get a breakdown on that.
Yeah, but they don't say that those trees we supposed to eat.
Right. But see,
The tree mentioned in Genesis was for food.
right. But see,
In
some people
Ezekiel
would say, my bad.
represent high and mighty men.
Oh, okay. Well, see, another ideology, and that's why I say if you could just, we can go into these things. Another ideology that I've heard is that, in reference of eating, it can be a form of, information or a form of knowledge that we partake in. Even going into the story of even what we just went over today, how the Nakash, talking about enchantments or those type of things. So was it like a serpent being enchantful, or was that a person that was introducing them to something? This is just the ideologies I've heard. So I'll leave it with that.
If it was a person, it wouldn't have been called a beast of the field.
Okay.
So it was a creature, whatever that creature was, might have been a crocodile. Some places translated as a crocodile.
Mhm.
So we don't know. But it wasn't a person because it wouldn't have been called a beast.
Right.
All right. So let's go to Genesis, the fourth chapter. So go to Genesis, the fourth chapter. I'm going to start at verse 1 just to give you an answer. Okay. It says, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Most High. And she conceived again, bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Then it says, and in the process of time. What does that mean to you?
That there's a period of time that is passing by.
That's right. And each one of these, it shows that there was a process of time. That's not the only one. There's several of them where there was a process of time. So in that process of time, she had other children. So Cain would have married his sister or his niece in some type of way because time was elapsing. And that's not the only process of time. There's several throughout this chapter where it speaks about a process of time and then Cain going off finding a wife. So he only married a relative of himself. And at that time, that's all they could do because there was no one else there. That's what a lot of people don't pay attention to. And I've seen a lot of scholars get lost and stuck on that situation. Adam and Eve had other children. You mean to tell me that he had Uchi Coochie with his wife and they only produced 2 children and didn't do Uchi Coochie again? Or she never had no other children? Come on, man. Yes, they had other children. And some of them children were girls.
Okay, and so pretty much it only references the children that pretty much play an important role, if that makes sense.
Exactly correct.
That's
exactly correct. Who brought forth, who was dominant in this earth. So over that process of time, other children was born. And eventually it had intercourse with a relative, a family member. So people get stuck on that all the time. I don't know why, but they do. And it's like they don't read. They don't see it there. A process of time. All right, we have another question. What did the Creator mean when he said he will put division between the serpent seed and Eve's seed? Make me think the two had intercourse or something. No, they didn't have intercourse.
Fear.
Most women don't like serpents. Most women shoo at serpent. So the Most High put a division between the two of them. And if you think about it, when a snake sees a person, snakes usually run. The only time a snake stand there and fight is if they're trapped or cornered. Other than that, snakes get out of the way. So that's what that meant. And that's what happens. All right?
And you know the part when it says, and at the woman's heel or at the,
Yeah.
because when he said he took him from his 4 feet and he was now.
He took all his legs and made him walk around the dirt, yes, on his belly. So that's how we're deducing that it's possibly a serpent. Yes. Are there any other questions? Come on, family. Are there any other questions? We had such a good class today. Are there any other questions? Any other comments? And listen, you don't all have to agree with me just because I say it. If you disagree, state your point of view. It's okay. I don't mind. State your point of view.
Like I said, I don't have another question, but I do feel that this was a great class. And then if we can, I would like to just do a series on this because, like I said, there's just so many different ideologies on it. So if we can come to like a common ground on it, I feel like it would be very edifying, for the people. So.
Okay. We'll do the next part next week. I believe the women will always want to be in the position of the man.
He's saying that's what he believes desire means.
Okay, wonderful. May the Most High be praised. May the Most High be praised. Any other questions or comments, family? Thank y'all for allowing me. Now watch next week. I'm gonna be all energetic. I'm gonna have all this strength. Because I'll be the 8. I'll be like, yo, what's up, y'all? We staying for another hour or so? But not today. You ain't gonna get that from me today.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, put your feet down. But I do thank you all for coming in and putting up with me on this day. My mind wasn't always there. But if my mind was always there, all the way there, I could have probably brought some more stuff out to share with you that I know about the book of Genesis 1 and 2. But I did my best with what I had to work with. And last week in class, I was fasting too. So I did my best, family. I did my best. Please forgive me if I didn't give you everything. Creator willing, I'll be able to give you more next week. And I'll probably have some videos to show you to support some of the things that I'm saying. But this is what I wanted to touch on before I left. And this will probably be in next week's class. All right? So pay attention to this. This is very important. Take this with you and don't forget it. It's a part of my lesson for next week. Yeah, we move ahead of time. We get our lessons prepared weeks ahead of time. So here we go. Y'all ready? Watch this. Video unavailable. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
They said we gotta wait.
Future where we lower the cost of living for America's families.
Bringing down grocery prices, capping unfair rent increases, making sure billionaires pay their fair share.
We can hear it, but we can't see anything.
Is what Kamala Harris is fighting for.
4.4 million years ago, an Australopithecine called Ard.
Okay, let me share this screen. I want y'all to hear this. This is important. I promised my wife I would try to play it. So now I'm going to play it. All right, just watch, listen to it for a minute. Drop some jewels for you. Can y'all see that?
Okay.
Stood on her legs and walked. And ever since then, the rhythm of walking has stamped human music. But much more than that, pun intended, that the first steps put us on the path to forging links between the brain and muscular exertion and sound. Hominins learned to hear footsteps as a pattern, and what patterns give you is a sense of time. You can predict what will happen next. It's willy-nilly reflecting the experience of walking through the earth. The condition of being human, being midway between the birds in the heavens and the whales in the ocean, we can situate ourselves. Birdsong is as jerky as the motions of a bird, just as whales have a much more fluid rhythm of floating through their own medium. Human music reflects walking. And this also gives humans a fascination with this metaphor that music moves. And if you think about it, music does not move, but we imagine that one note moves to the other. And most of music, be it a symphony or a song, unfolds a journey. And this journey takes us from one point to another in our minds. It's an imaginary journey, a very long distant echo from the journey of our ancestors out of Africa. What makes human music so distinctive is our link between sound and motion.
All right. He ain't jumping to the point that I want to bring out. So I'm going to make it clear to you. Back in Genesis 1:1, the Most High called to the light. There was a voice that was being utilized. And the voice is vibration. Vibration moves faster than the speed of sound. A lot of people don't know that. I mean, speed of light. Sound is faster than the speed of light, but a lot of people don't know that. Vibration is sound. And music is also vibration. And vibration is what the Creator used to formulate everything in existence in vibration. If I wasn't so tired and so weak, I could explain this so much better. But I'm gonna do my best right now to give you something so that you can go and research what it is that I'm talking about. The reason why music soothes us and heals us is because music is what was used to create us. Vibration. Everything in existence is here because of vibration. And we don't know that because the white man ain't teaching it in his schools. But Prince is teaching it to you right now. So Prince wants you to go out and research it and prove Prince wrong. Vibration is the source of everything. When the Creator, in Genesis 1:1, it talks about Elohim forming the heavens and the earth. They formed it from vibration. All these things was formed. The voice spoke and things started falling into play. Vibration is so powerful that you can have cancer. And if you play the right frequency to your cancer several times a day, it'll heal your cancer. It'll take the cancer right out your body. But you have to have something that's, I believe that's from 900 to 1300 megahertz. I believe that's what it is to help to heal cancer. And you have to play it certain times of a day on that spot or wherever the illness is or wherever the cancer is present. And it goes in and it breaks up the cancer cells and then it destroys the cancer cells. Same thing with kidney failure, heart disease, all types of ailments. Vibration can heal you. Vibration is because we come from vibration. Do you know that everything in existence vibrates on different levels? If it vibrates fast enough, it's called what we see as transparent. You can see through it. And when the vibration slows down, it becomes what we call a solid. Now we can touch it. But if the vibration is fast enough, you can pass through a wall. But you have to be able to vibrate on that frequency to be able to do so. And your body will be intact. If you could vibrate fast enough, you could pass through a wall. If you can vibrate fast enough, you can levitate. If you can vibrate fast enough, there are things that you can do called time travel that others don't even begin to understand what it's really about. It's all from vibration. We were created from vibration. Never forget that. Let's say the earth was created from vibration. It's the source of all things.
Yeah. Can I say something about that?
Yes.
So
Come up so they can hear you, please.
that reminds me of one of the things that my mother and father, when they moved to Belize, they started a healing clinic. And one of the main healing components to their clinic was music, and playing music as a healing, as a healing process for different ailments that a person has. And I noticed during my dad's tribute, certain people played certain instruments that are geared towards healing. I know one thing I do know is that there are instruments that are used in witchcraft. So you have to be very careful of which instruments and which tunes as well, because some people do those, like that that bowl that you can go around, that a lot of Buddhists and Hindu people use. Like a lot of those things that they use come with a lot of different spirits. So I know when we talked about doing the school over here for healing, that's one of the platforms that we're building is a healing center, with a music healing center or vibration healing center. But like you said, it's the importance of studying what's the right vibration.
That's right. So vibration is very important. That's why I wanted to play the video. My wife, she sings and she's really heavily into music. She reads, writes, plays a guitar, the piano. She plays the guitar a little bit, but she plays the piano more. And she sings and she participates in music. And I was going to give my lesson earlier today, but I couldn't give it because I'm so weak and didn't want to exhaust myself out too much. So I just decided to do this second portion of the lesson. But I wanted to just share with you all, a lot of you can go on the internet or on YouTube and look up music and vibration and see what they tell you about music and vibration and how music brings about the healing. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring that up, because my lesson was about Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 16, when Saul had an evil spirit put on him by the Creator, and David came in and played the harp, and the evil spirit left him. That's because of the vibration from the chords that David was playing chased out the evil spirit. It was a healing spirit. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the part that I was utilizing to usher in the power of sound, the power of vibration. So we got to be real careful how we talk to each other, how we deal with each other. And especially if you got a newborn child, you got to make sure that you're not arguing with your wife around that newborn child, where the vibration of your level and your tone gets in that child's ear and is high pitched to the level where you're angry and disturbed. As my wife brought out, negative energies can enter in as well. And that's what that creates. But if you're always talking good to your child, positive thoughts, what he don't understand your words, but the vibration sends energy to his brain, and it helps to formulate his brain to be a certain condition, a certain way. And if he's always getting positive energy through the vibration, he will grow up most likely being a positive child. And when he gets all that negative, you will notice that he will grow up being a negative child, a troublemaker, a bad child in school. He won't want to share. He'll just be evil, a wicked little child, or a disturbed little child. So you have to remember these things, family. So we thank you all for coming out this day. I just wanted to share those things before we close out, to give you some things to look forward to. And Creator willing, next week I'll have a whole lot more energy than I got right now. And we'll be able to take it a little bit further. I want to thank everybody who came on the platform today to help participate, to help this class to be a success. All I ask, family, is that you go out and share the link to other groups, other places where you know that people need to hear the word of the Almighty, so that a lot of this information can be shared with them. May the Most High be praised, family. Once again, Shabbat Shalom Lakim and Toda Rabbah. for sharing your Shabbat with us. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabban.
Shabbat shalom.